that they used to hang out in for, the homeopathic curative powers of the hot springs. So that's called Brockway Hot Springs, and that's their first point of turning, and they're going to go into the deepest part of the lake, which is Burnt Cedar Beach, into Incline, and there's parts of that lake right there that they don't even know how deep it is.
Sure.
It's so you get these weird, we call it kind of like the Bermuda Triangle, because you get these weird katabatic winds that spin around in there, and you'll get blown all over creation. So it's really groovy that they're actually forcing these guys to go into the Bermuda Triangle.
They otherwise call that the dead body hole.
Exactly. That's where Jimmy Hoff, Frank Sinatra used to dump all his enemies out there.
Exactly. That's what they call it, kind of the Bermuda Triangle at the North Shore. So be interesting to see. I think everybody was very, very happy about the 10-mile course layout this year. Lots of excitement at the registration 10 of people saying, I like this course a lot better. Due to the fact of weather conditions, let's talk weather conditions real quick here in Kings Beach, California. Beautiful start to the morning here. Right now, we're sitting at around 62 degrees, looking for 74 degrees as your high today. Expected some winds to kick up around noon today, 10 to 12 miles an hour from the south-southwest. Now, in comparison to prior years, though, this is like perfect.
Absolutely. We've had some years where it's been so dangerous and nuking conditions. It happens in August. You get like the early part of the fall where you get the high pressure systems that kind of just funnel into here, and it can get downright dangerous. I was looking at Wind Watcher this morning, and it's not too bad. And this is actually when they're going to spin around at this point, they're going to have a little bit of a downwind all the way through Incline into Burnt Cedar Beach. So it's actually going to work to their advantage.
I totally agree with that, and I'm just trying to get the athlete sheets so we know who's in this race.
Absolutely.
We were supposed to have them a little while ago, registration. A lot of people coming in on Tahoe time.
Absolutely.
We're late.
Absolutely.
Paddlers just getting out.
Absolutely.
Like, we're done. They're supposed to pour off the car, running down to the water.
What's really funny is, I grew up in Kauai, and, I was raised on Hawaiian time, and, moving to the mainland, I turned into a type A driven kind of character, moved up to Tahoe like 13 years ago, and Tahoe time is actually even a step below Hawaiian time. It's amazing. It's just like, we'll get you when we get you. And
it's surprising anybody even wakes up in the morning.
Yeah, no one gets anything done here. But we're all smiling and we're having fun, so that's really what matters, right?
Well, this event is absolutely phenomenal. Like you said, it's the longest running flatwater paddle race in the world.
Right.
And tell you what, we owe Ernie Broussard
for sure
a huge pat on the back for everything he's done with this race.
Absolutely. When he first started doing it, we all thought he was crazy. It's like, oh man, this is like a fad. It's like pet rocks and hula hooping. This isn't going to last. Here we go. Proved us wrong, It's amazing.
The sport has come so far. I mean, there's events every single weekend now, and you're there or I'm there. And we covered. Now they're really starting in with the youth events this year, which we're going to talk about here coming up, because I know a bunch of ambassadors in the stand-up paddle world really working on the youth of America, trying to make sure we have these paddlers for years to come, which is very, very admirable.
Absolutely. This is without a doubt going to be an Olympic sport. It should be. It's an amazing, aesthetically beautiful sport, and it needs to get international recognition. And the future is in the kids. And what's really amazing is you have a 10-year-old kid. He's been doing it for 98% of his life. And watching kids paddle these days, it's humbling, because what they're doing is stuff that us as adults that have been paddling just as long can't do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ballet on water. And I think it's really cool, like you have people like Anthony Vela and Candace Appleby that are really leading the charge as far as empowering kids to institute this healthy lifestyle into their life and their culture. And it's great, because there's so many avenues that kids can go down these days, and it's like, this is one of the most productive and beautiful things to do. It continues the Waterman ethos for sure. Mm-hmm. So total props out to Anthony and Candace for sure.
I got to go attend their event. Actually announced the Sup Fiesta for them this year down there.
Right on.
It was an absolute spectacle. The parent support, the family support, the kids out there charging waves.
Charging.
Getting
that was a big day too.
It was a big surf day down there, and most parents were like, "Oh, I don't know if you should go." And they're like, "I'm going, Mom." They push their mom off to the side. And they go. It reminds me of Battle of the Paddle last year, 2012. I mean, it was phenomenal. The kids race. We launched them right there. That's probably the biggest break of the whole day.
Yeah.
These kids are just getting thrown, and then they just jump back on their board. They're like, "That was fun. Let's do it again."
Yeah, how cool is that?
And that's what it's all about. So we're underway right now in our 10-mile race. Still waiting for our sheep, but let's talk about a few of the athletes.
Okay, sure.
In this race. Now, you brought up one from this neck of the woods, Jay Wild, who
Absolutely.
is always a competitor, usually on a stand-up, but really getting into the OC. Just got a brand new boat in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which he's really stoked about.
You know, Jay, it's actually, he's been doing outriggers longer than paddleboards. I mean, he's been a cat that's basically been paddling any sort of watercraft for as long as I've known him. You know, he grew up in San Clemente, moved up to Tahoe like a lot of us when Southern California started getting crazy. Then once you move up here, you're like going stir crazy, and you're like, God, what do I do with myself? I need to get in the water. And he was one of the cats that really, you know, brought the waterman ethos out here as far as like paddling, outrigger, prone paddleboarding, swimming, you know, free diving. So yeah, he's leading the charge. He's a good friend of mine and incredible athlete, a new dad. He's got a little grommet now that's already, you know, on a board. He's probably pushing maybe 2 years old now.
Yeah.
And his wife Anik, also incredible waterman and
that's what I was gonna
really good spirit.
I was going to bring that up. A lot of question on who's the better waterman between.
Without a doubt. And I'm not. I mean, you know, we're live on webcast here, so I'm not going to make that statement because I think Anik is an amazing water spirit. So yeah, I'm not going to make the call on that one.
Another one in this race, Dax Willard.
Yep.
Also from the North Shore.
Absolutely.
Phenomenal athlete. A quiet, reserved individual.
Absolutely.
You don't even know he's there until he crosses the finish line in first, second, or third place.
Absolutely.
Take a podium. We're like, where'd this guy come from?
Absolutely.
You know, has a shop here, set up shop in Tahoe, has been around forever. Those two know this area better than anybody. They're out on the water every single morning. So that's also
it's like the Hawaiian waterman. You know, it's just like you spend time in the water doing everything, whether you're fishing for sustenance or you're out there paddling or charging big surf. It's like all that goes into the supercomputer in the cerebellum, and you know, that makes you more proficient in the water. And without a doubt, Tahoe watermen are very much on equal with Hawaiian watermen, and those guys are leading the charge.
And also another athlete that's going to be on the water today, and I follow this guy regularly, Thomas Maximus from San Clemente, California.
Absolutely.
Now, he's usually racing an unlimited.
Yep.
But today he's on a 14.
I know it.
He's going to be going up against Dax and Jay and all these other athletes.
And he's a monster. I mean, what does he weigh? I mean, he's like 300 pounds of pure muscle.
Yeah.
And so I don't even know they made a 14-foot that would float a guy that big. You know what I mean? So
that's what I was thinking
more power to him.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, him and his 6% body fat. I actually had the Wednesday night sub-series over on the South Shore here last Wednesday, and he competed in that with a lot of these other athletes, and he was riding a new prototype board, and like you said, I mean, he overpowered the board.
Oh, I know. He's the Arnold Schwarzenegger of SUP.
Isn't it true? It's good to see him riding for Riviera out there. It's good to see all the board manufacturers on the beach today, too. We have Lakeshore Paddle Company from right here in Minden, California.
Yep.
We got the Riviera guys, of course. We got Boga.
Yep.
A lot of those fun and innovative type sports. Now, you see a lot more inflatables on the beach this year.
And, you know, it's really amazing, and we'll have Dan Gavir stopping by here. You know, he's one of those cats that's an ambassador of whitewater and just leading the charge on all that adrenaline craziness. And, yeah, the inflatable is really improved because the structural rigidity of those things is almost as nice as a regular, you know, solid board. That was always like the weak link, as they were always flexy and they didn't really work now. But I mean, the boards they're making are incredible, and you know, you're not spending the weekend doing dig repair after you go out and do your whitewater charging. So yeah, I mean, every manufacturer from Lakeshore to Riviera to Boga, everyone's making an inflatable now, which is great. You know.
Yeah. Now, women.
Okay.
The Wahine.
Okay.
Who we looking at in this race? In the Wahine category.
Oh wow.
It's going to play a factor. I'm going through the list here. We're still waiting on our official start list, but I mean, I'm just looking at here. It's tough to tell. I mean, you got Brooke Staples, which is obviously, I mean, she's always a competitor. Roxanne Scott is out there as well. You got the women are coming for the guys. And I mean, everybody says, oh, the women are on 12.6s because if we put them on 14s, they'll dominate the guys.
They'll beat them, without a doubt. You know, without a doubt. And the most beautiful part of watching a female paddle is it's like so graceful. It's like watching a girl surf. They bring something to the sport that men will aspire to but will never achieve. You know, you get guys like Danny Ching that is actually pure poetry in motion. He's one of the anomalies. You know, most guys that paddle are really relying on strength and power, and watching a female paddle like her is just it's just poetry to watch. You know, the big thing to consider of all these athletes is that we're at 6,500 feet, and so 6,500 feet you're dealing with altitude, and you come up here and you kind of settle in, and you've only been here for 24 hours and you drank a PBR last night. Yeah. You're feeling it this morning. You know, maybe that first 5 minutes. Right now they're getting to the point, their heart rate is up, and they're probably feeling the altitude already.
Now you're seated on the screen right now.
Yep.
They're still kind of congregated up there. You're going to start to see our leaders break away as soon as they get around this point. But we were talking about that rock outcropping area right there. It can be quite treacherous, but they have them going nice distance around that.
Look at that right-hander going through there. I mean, there's some surf out there today.
There is. On a normal, like last year, up to 2012, you're riding that baby.
Oh, yeah.
You got a nice downwinder.
Oh, you know what's really magical is in January when the wind is really dookie, that place breaks like Rincon. It's like a point break, you know, but it's so cold you get hypothermia in like 15 seconds, so you can't go out there and surf it.
Well, I've seen some pretty phenomenal YouTube videos of some surf in that area and then over in Sand Harbor area.
Absolutely.
On the total east part of the lake, I mean, you get some 6-foot breaks over there on occasion.
On its day, it looks just like pipeline.
Yeah. It's fun to see. Check it out on YouTube. Just Google it because it's phenomenal to see what these guys are doing, and they look forward to it. They put it on their calendar. So you see a lot of the athletes going around the point right now. 10 miles. Now, 10 miles doesn't seem like a lot.
But it's a sprint. You know, that's the thing about it. You know, everything from our little tiny 4-milers to our 22-miler straight down the middle of the lake, it's pretty much a sprint, you know? So a 10-mile, you're flat out. I mean, there's no cruising at all. You're basically reaching, you know, your max heart rate, and you're holding that for 2 hours.
Right. Right. It's hard to believe that 10 miles would actually be a sprint.
Yeah.
But it is.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Also coming up today, the next race to be underway will be the beginner 2-mile race. And then the last event of the day will be our 4-person relay slalom race, which is one of my favorites. I mean, that's where it's
carnage.
Close. Yep, it's close, it's tight, it's carnage, it's exciting. You got athletes working together on the same team, not as individuals, and it gets quite competitive down there on the beach.
Oh yeah, because everyone's flying their colors for the corporate banners, you know. So it's like, you know, they're all sponsored riders, and they want to, like, you know, bring home the bacon for their particular paddleboard company. Yeah, and you know, also, just to mention, another part of the growing demographic of paddleboarding is stand-up paddleboard yoga, and I think that's an amazing experience. If you've never done it, if you're not a yoga practitioner, getting yourself on a paddleboard and trying to do the simplest postures, even a downward dog, is a very humbling but a rewarding experience. And they're going to shoot for the world record today as far as like getting as many people as they possibly can do doing yoga out there. So that'll be kind of groovy too.
That's coming up at 11 a.m. The Roxy Outdoor World Record SUP yoga attempt for the most folks on a SUP doing yoga. And a few of these athletes on these boga boards out there, I know a couple of them right offhand, Sarah Callahan from the South Shore, and a couple of others, will even do the yoga move coming into the finish line.
Absolutely.
So they're in motion.
Grace under pressure.
But boy, it has taken off. The whole SUP yoga movement is really starting to start taking a grasp.
You know what really blew me away is 2 weeks ago we had the Wanderlust Yoga Festival in town here at Squaw Valley. 4 days of music and magic and yoga. And Dave and Trish Myler from Boga Paddleboards called me up and they said, you know, we know you're a yoga teacher. Would you be interested in hanging out with us because we have a huge demand for our classes? They were sold out every class. We did a yoga class every 2 hours for 4 days straight. We taught a class of 25 yoga students, and it was amazing. So in that 4 days, 500 yoga practitioners were here on Lake Tahoe on paddleboards for the first time experiencing yoga on water, you know, and I was blown away at the demand and the interest in it, and I think it's doing nothing but growing exponentially.
And you've seen a lot more specialized boards on the market these days for a lot of those people as
Absolutely.
well. We also have our Grom race coming up at noon today, so that's where these kids all start challenging each other and taking to the water there at 12 o'clock. This is the young and upcomers here in the SUP world, so you definitely don't want to miss that. And some young paddlers, just to kind of mention, you got to mention the South Shore Posse.
The Bracket Mafia.
They call it the Bracket Posse, but you're right, it is the Mafia. These kids come in and they just sweep the podium
I know.
after time after time.
And there's like 50 of them,
at least. And they're still popping them out.
There's one that's like a year and a half, and Chris has already got him on a paddleboard. He's out there doing like interval training. Yeah. The kid's a year and a half.
He's a year and a half old. Just raced his first race last Wednesday.
Yeah,
so, yeah. You're gonna look for the brackets there. We've got a couple of other athletes to mention there from this Orange County area that are up here today. So it'll be interesting to see how that all falls out. But a beautiful day here in Lake Tahoe. Again, it's gonna be a fun, full-packed day of action here. Dave, Defoe, and Drew with the U calling it now. Most of our athletes have made it around the bend right now, so we're going to lose focus of them here for a little while, and they'll probably be back. They're estimating this race to take about an hour and 30 to 45 minutes for most of the top athletes.
A flat-out sprint, without a doubt. You'll be able to finish in like an hour and 20. The stragglers will probably come in just a little bit over 2 hours,
I was talking to Kelly French and Barrett Tester, our race officials, prior to the race, and they were talking about this race. They're hugging the shoreline all the way down, but then they're going to make that far turn down by Incline Village. It'll be a right-hand shoulder turn, and then on the way back, it's a free-for-all. It's the best course possible.
Which is great.
I agree.
Absolutely.
That's where that's where it's all going to fall out.
Absolutely.
Who's going to pick the best line? It kind of reminds you of like an open ocean race.
That's right.
People are going to play a little bit of the currents. They're going to see how the wind plays a factor, if at all, today. But right now, it doesn't even seem to be a factor.
Not at all. And that's why if people are actually watching this that aren't from Tahoe, they see a little bit of haze going on. It's the result of like several wildfires that are going on that aren't really near us, but there's a couple down towards Yosemite and Mammoth, and the prevailing wind kind of like blows them into the basin. So yeah, we're dealing with that too. And I'm sure a lot of the paddlers, when you get that heart rate up and you're really sucking in oxygen, you're up at 6,500 feet, you're sucking in a little smoke. And so I think that's going to be a factor today for sure.
Well, you're definitely right when you say a lot of the people from sea level come into this elevation. It affects them greatly, and I know a lot of them got here on Monday and Tuesday trying to acclimate.
Absolutely.
I don't know what's the right amount of time. I mean, the research shows that you need a week to 2 weeks.
Without a doubt.
But, I mean, a lot of these paddlers have other jobs.
Yep.
So, like, Thomas Maximus came up on Monday.
Yep.
He's been out training. He raced on the South Shore on Wednesday, and he said he felt good today. So we'll see how that affects them. But I tell you what, these local guys, like you said, Dax and Jay, I mean, they definitely got the advantage at this elevation.
Another local kid that's really super impressive, and he's a true gentleman, is Austin Young. Austin Young is another cat that paddles for Lakeshore Paddleboards, and without a doubt, a true gentleman of the sport. Has always paddled a stock class, so he's paddling against some of the big guns on a way undergunned board, and
still waiting on his 14, I hear.
He's still waiting on his 14. Yeah, that was supposed to be delivered in April. So
that's what I heard. Like,
he's paddled in the 12.6.
Making this thing out of gold or something. I mean, I keep talking with Mike Tessier, who joined us on the webcast today from Lakeshore Paddle Company. He's, it's being designed. It's gonna be perfect.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see if we get him on. But you know what? The kid's been dominating the stock class.
Without a doubt, he's owning it. What's really funny is I haven't been doing a lot of paddling this year, and I showed up at the South Lake, Race of the Sky, and Austin and I paddled alongside. I'm on my 16-inch wide unlimited bark speed machine, and who's right next door to me is Austin on his 12.6, and I'm like, geez, it's amazing what these kids can do on these tiny boards.
Talk about that from a training aspect. I mean, if you think about it, having a kid race on a stock board for a couple of years.
Yep.
Rather than just putting him on the 14,
right.
I mean, it's got to do a lot for him.
It's a huge difference. It's like learning to drive a Volkswagen, Beetle, and then flipping the keys to the Ferrari, and saying, "Go at it, kid." And Once he gets on a 14, it's on. He'll be beating guys in the unlimited class without a doubt.
Well, that's what I was saying to Mike Tessia the other day. I'm like, boy, you put this kid on a 14, it'll be really interesting to see what happens, because I think you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think once he takes a few strokes, and I don't know if he paddles a 14 at all.
I see him out there in all kinds of different things. I see him out there on like windsurfers, and he's also part of the J Wild Waterman posse, so he's out there training on prones once a week. So we've got a huge posse that try to kind of like diversify it up and get on prone boards and do some soft sand sprints, and so he can pretty much paddle anything. He's a big outrigger guy now. Jay's got him out in an outrigger, so yeah, it's cool to see him out there.
Well, we're still waiting on our official start list.
Well, let's see what's going on here. We've lost track of our paddlers. Everyone's pretty much made it around the rocks.
We're trying to get an update. We'll update you as often as we can via radio. We do have a couple boats on the water right now that are going to kind of follow the leaders and give us those insights on who's leading this 10-mile race. Like we said, it'll be about an hour and 20, 30 minutes before we start seeing these guys come around the bend again. But the ones to watch out for, like we talked about, Thomas Maximus from San Clemente, Riviera rider. You got the Hobie rider, Jay Wild, and Dax Willard. Those three are going to be kind of the ones I'm feeling. Obviously, you got Jay in the OC. Yep. Dax, I believe, is on stand-up today.
Yep.
And you're going to have Thomas on the 14.
Yep,
so those
without
are
a
the three.
doubt.
Anybody else you want to throw in that mix? You got Seth Springer coming up. So
Seth,
he's always one.
Seth lights it up, man. He's part of the Bach paddleboard posse, and he's got a new board. Another cat up here that's turning 50, so he's really looking forward to jumping into the Masters class. Is Rand Carter.
Rand
Carter is a smoking paddleboarder. He's my training partner. We paddle a lot together, and he's also got the super stealth Jimmy Terrell design Bark speed machine. So he's another cat that might very well be up in the front pack.
So we'll be seeing those guys coming up. We're going to take a quick break, I think, in a minute. We're going to take a quick break. We're just waiting for our breaks. Now we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back here from Kings Beach, California. Dave Defoe and Drew with you. We'll be back.
On two custom outfitted 31-foot boats, U.S. Coast Guard licensed captains will show you the beauty of the lake from the air on a peaceful and exhilarating parasail flight. Flights are available for all ages and all levels of bravery, and no experience is necessary. Choose from 500 to 1,400 feet of line and heights of up to 900 feet above the water.
Definitely something to do again and beautiful.
For a fun day closer to shore, North Tahoe Water Sports features a fleet of personal watercraft for rent, private lake tours, and a complete line of non-motorized rentals, including canoes, kayaks, pedal boats, and water trikes. North Tahoe Water Sports proudly uses the most environmentally friendly personal watercraft available, certified as low-emissions vehicles by the state of California. With two convenient locations, in Kings Beach at the base of the pier at the Kings Beach State Recreation Area, and in Tahoe City at the Tahoe City Marina, fun on the lake is easy to be had. For a good time on Lake Tahoe, call North Tahoe Water Sports at 530-583-SAIL. North Tahoe.
Lake Tahoe boasts some of the most amazing and unique places in the world. One of the standouts, Chambers Landing Bar and Grill, located on Lake Tahoe's west shore, is an icon of summertime fun. This is the kind of place that's just filled with good vibes, a place to hang out with friends and family and enjoy that laid-back Tahoe atmosphere. And the center attraction and gathering place is the one-of-a-kind Boathouse Bar. Sitting literally on the lake, it's the oldest bar in Lake Tahoe. This one-of-a-kind location provides not only expansive views and impeccable sunsets, but good times for all.
It's a very kickback, casual atmosphere that, we promote the fact. Come casual, enjoy the kickback attitude.
A Tahoe tradition for many generations. Any night of the week is a great night to hang out on the pier. And Thursdays is a Thirsty Thursdays with live music and drink specials, including the legendary Chambers Punch. An addictive mix of rums and other secret ingredients, the Chambers Punch has been a must-sip for over 35 years.
We have music from 5 until 9. Randy and Steve play here every Thursday, and on that day we just serve a ton of punches, and everybody comes out and has a great Thursday and gets ready for the weekend.
Chambers Punch on the rocks is the best, no doubt about it. Reminds me a little bit of Long Island iced tea, maybe something you get in Hawaii. It's good.
It definitely has great flavor. It does its job for sure. It has a good kick, and I enjoy one every single time, or two every single time I'm here.
The punch is so good because I serve it.
Whether it's by boat or by land, for lunch from the grill or an evening on the pier, Chambers Landing is a true Tahoe-style gathering place at a truly unbelievable location. That's it for this Grub, Grog, and Groove. For Tahoe TV, I'm Carrie Todd.